All right, welcome to Bullpen Diaries with the Red Corner. This is a new periodic segment that we're rolling out here, folks, where we will be tapping in every so often when we feel most necessary. We have to get something off our chest, and it's all things bullpen. So today, guys, is June 5th, 2025. Dear Diary, as I told you in the past, Alvarado is no longer with us. He did a bad thing and is currently serving an 80-game suspension. Jordan Romano has caused me more sadness than joy. And guys like Strom and Kerkering haven't been quite like what they were in 2024. Guys, Jose Ruiz has been DFA'd, and Taijuan Walker is back from the dead and has joined the bullpen. I'm worried, Diary. I've seen Weston Wilson pitch far too much. Is the trade deadline my only hope? Bones, where are we at on this bullpen right now on June 5th?
Well, the trade deadline is too far away. That's for sure. It's over a month and a half away, and Philly's got big problems. They can't figure out who their closer is. Romano, he's hit or miss. I think Kerkering's probably the most impressive piece in the bullpen, and that's not really saying much. You talked about Alvarado being down, and they have no lefty in the bullpen. Tanner Banks stinks. Matt Strom, he stinks. I remember when Red Rider Sean Kubis brought that up a while ago, and we all laughed at him. And since then, he has been absolutely garbage.
Not reliable.
Today was a bad start by Jesus Luzardo again, and then going in. It's funny we start this bullpen diaries. We're gonna have a bullpen game tomorrow, kicking it off with Joe Ross.
Good timing there.
But yeah, I'll let Chris do his little preamble before we really dive into it.
Act 1, Scene 1, Sunday, June 1st. The scene is Citizens Bank Ballpark, Philadelphia. And the Phillies are coming off a 17-7 drumming the day before. They're trying to bounce back. Everything's looking pretty good. I got love for my boy Tanner Banks, who looked very good that day. And then bringing in Strom, we thought we would be fine. And then Mr. Reliable is now Mr. Overused. All right. Let's fast forward to 2 days. That's the day we're talking about. We're now up in Toronto. It's June 3rd. After a day off, which was we needed it so bad. I remember talking to people on Saturday before the 17-7 game saying we needed a day off. So Saturday and Sunday, I knew it was going to be ugly. We get the day off, June 3rd. I'm excited. Yeah, everything went pretty well. Wasn't too upset with anything that happened on June 3rd. We ended up getting the W. Turner looked well. So no hate there. But then yesterday was a nightmare. All right, Act 3, Fool's Goal, the return of Corky Romano. This is like the worst. This is like the worst sequel we've ever seen. Everything was looking half decent. The game was tied 1-1. It was a struggle city, but then Romano, his inability to hold runners on first base is a deal breaker for me. I can't imagine this guy getting any serious playoff reps if it's going to be automatic Steel City when he's on. Long story short, Blue Jays win 2-1, and Romano's homecoming leaves us heartbroken. That's where I'm at. And then today was a joke, and I didn't even get to the guy who didn't just get a saver versus us, but picked up a win. And that's our boy, Jeff Hoffman.
Yeah, which is funny because Hoffman, we're all Hoffman guys at the end of the day. And the first, call it month and a half of the year, maybe a little bit less, Hoffman was looking great. He's kind of leveled off a little bit now, but we'll talk more about Hoffman in the future. But, guys, I have a list of names here, right? And, Slim, thank you for that. And because you hit on exactly where I was going, playoffs, right? And we'll be tapping into this in future diaries. But look, I have a list of names: Matt Strom, Kirkering, Romano, Taiwan Walker, Tanner Banks, Mick Abel, Seth Johnson, Max Lazar, and Joe Ross. Those are our guys right now. Out of that group of guys, how many of them do you honestly think you're comfortable with right now in a high leverage playoff position?
Well, Mick Abel, I mean, he's only made 2 career starts, hasn't walked nobody. He was actually pretty good yesterday, pitching off of 4 days rest.
Right.
Looked good up until that 6th inning, which I think it was jinxed by Scott Fransky. But other than that,
Yeah.
in this bullpen, Kirkering,
Probably.
eh.
Yeah.
Other than that, I guess we'll see Walker when he starts diving in more into that bullpen role. Joe Ross coming in tomorrow. He's going to open the game for the Phillies, the June 6th game versus the Pirates. But that's against the Pirates. I think we could score runs off, or we could score more runs than they can.
So
Other than that, nobody. I mean, and the Strom thing. I mean, I think he's hurt, and it started off during spring training where he was delayed. He started off first couple games where he didn't pitch, and he's definitely hurt. I don't know what's going on with him because he was Mr. Reliable, and he ain't no more. That's for sure.
anything to add there, Slim, on those names?
Well, Bones, you said it before. We were giving a little bit of kudos to our pitching staff, saying it looks like some of our weaknesses could be fixed in house, and if they're not, at least they're making the moves to try to fix it in house. With that being said, I got zero confidence in Walker at all. The $72 million man. The reason I say it is I think every time you throw him out there, it's probably just going to be a guessing game. Is he going to be able to do it? Is he not going to be able to do it? And he pretty much has said that himself at this point,
Right.
in my opinion, when he says he's basically guessing which pitches are working that night. I will add that the Strom thing, hopefully we can figure that out. I do believe in him. I believe in Kirkering a little bit. I do believe in Romano as long as there's just no one on base, because the slider seems legit, but as long as he can keep people completely off base. We've seen him get on hot streaks since Alvarado went down. I think this would be Romano's first blown save. So, all right, maybe bring myself back a little bit. But with that being said, it is extremely annoying, and you can see where the problems are going to arise. I believe there may be a young Nightwing, a Robin somewhere here, and I think that guy's name might be Tanner Banks. All right, we're more than a third in. Right, we're more than a third into the season, and Tanner Banks has just been consistent. So you guys sit here and give the entire team a ton of love for beating the crap out of teams like the Rockies, the Pirates, and the Athletics. Well, give Tanner Banks his due, because when he's been getting called, he's at least been ringing the bell.
Yeah, he rung the bell. That 3-run homer he gave up last week.
I just started my journal this week. But
Tanner Banks if Tanner Banks was not a left-handed pitcher, he would not be in the big leagues. That's at least on this big league team. I hear you on that though, Slim. Stick into that. That's a hill you're going to die on. But here's the thing. So we mentioned Mick Abel. We mentioned Romano. We didn't talk about Painter. So I want us to kind of fast forward. This is our first Bullpen Diaries. And then when we do these throughout the rest of the year, we'll look back on this, right? So our bullpen, realistically speaking, we know how you shorten the rotation. So the lefty name that's getting thrown out there a lot is Ranger for the bullpen. So do you guys think realistically that the Ranger into the bullpen could be a solution that is going to happen in the playoffs?
Not the way with Jesus Luzardo's pitching the last 2 games.
Good point.
I mean, he's on, I think, first pitcher to give up 20 runs in less than 6 innings pitch in 2 games started in MLB history or something like that.
What's going on there, man?
So I don't, and his kind of reminds me of Ranger last year. And it was at this same point where he just went downhill. And so right now, like, I mean, if you talk to me last Friday about this whole bullpen thing, and like I said, maybe Rangers a trade candidate just because of how good the staff is pitching and pieces we need in the bullpen or like outfield help. Instead of getting rid of Mick Abel, why don't we get rid of Ranger Suarez, who's we're not probably going to re-sign anyway. But now that looks totally shot.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean the Luzardo struggles could lead to us having to potentially not trade Ranger and get an asset back. So that's a really good point that I hope does not develop into the truth, but something to keep an eye on. Slim, where are you at with Ranger in the playoffs?
So Ranger, I'm here to say Rangers a starter for the Phillies. I'm more interested in as a starter for the Phillies now in the playoffs and also long term here. I
Okay.
also believe this same to be true for Abel. I would like to see him here long term. And Painter, I think, would be the interesting name who might be the gun out the bullpen. But here's what I really think is going to end up happening.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the shadiness with the handling of Aaron Nola. He's out again, even longer. I think we go to Nola and say, yo, brother, we love you. Take the summer off. We'll bring you back, and then we'll see what that looks like from there. Okay? Because here's the other point. Joe Ross, this is probably the most value we're going to get out of Joe Ross is going to be tomorrow. So when Nola comes back, if we have a decent rotation of Ranger, Luzardo, Wheeler, Painter, and Abel, Nola, you can go to the bullpen come September.
We'll see. I mean, that's an interesting theory. I mean, Bones has pointed out in the past that Nola with people on isn't always historically great, and that's just something you want in a relief pitcher. But hey, man, look, if we're at the point where Luzardo is struggling, then we're going to need to put Nola back in there and say, hey, can you have
That's true too. That is true too.
So we'll see. Yeah,
but yes, I'm going to keep the focus on the bullpen. There's a lot of different starters who are floating around there, right? Who might be checking in.
And look, and then we'll put a pin in this, and the overall theme here that we're hearing is there's a lot more questions right now than answers, right, with the bullpen. So there's two things I want to kind of say here. The $1 million point is our starters have been awesome, right? Throughout this year, our as far as like the innings pitched, this is the irony. The bullpen has not had to pitch that many innings relative to the major leagues because the starters have given us a lot of innings, which is even more adding insult to injury that they haven't been able to get the job done. All that being said, I'm going to set the number over under at 1.5, meaning 1.5 relievers acquired between now and the trade deadline. Are you taking the over or the under? Bones.
They need the over. And so I'm going to go over. I think Dave Dombrowski is going to make the splash. I said that in my Genie notes.
Right.
So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Good callback.
I'll take the over, too. I can see us making a reliever a focus point of one deal and then maybe getting a reliever thrown in another type of deal. Maybe that involves because we saw some center field issues.
All right, guys. So you heard it there. If you are here, welcome to our first volume 1 of Bullpen Diaries. This was a fun one. Hit that subscribe button, and we will be reporting back for a future one as the Bullpen saga continues.